Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching. Every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m., you can catch us live on Charter Channel 182, Charter Communications. That's in North Alabama, and then also worldwide on syndicated television, Abundance TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, also on their website. So we appreciate Rob Patz for making that happen. And also the newscasters.com. That's our new podcast, and we're really excited to be there. More things happening, and we're all excited about it. I have AP Steadham with me, and AP is like everybody's favorite talk show host, especially when it pertains to sports, because you've made quite a few predictions that actually happened just because you know the sports.
Hey, Donna, so glad to be on the show. Thank you for having me. What I think one that I'm pretty proud of is the fact that I spoke of Auburn winning 6 games to be bowl eligible and possibly a 7th with an outside chance at 8. And so that's where they sit right now. They had the huge upset on the weekend in Fayetteville, big win, 48-10 against Arkansas, who just fell flat on their face at home. So Auburn has the 6 wins, and then they'll be playing New Mexico State, which is having a good year, by the way, 7-3, I believe. So that's not a gimme game, but I think Auburn can win that 7th game. And then, they play Alabama in the Iron Bowl. We all know that they can play nice and fast and loose because they're going to be a big underdog in that game. So Auburn with 6 wins, and they're now bowl eligible in Hugh Freeze's first year.
Something I've always found interesting. I've heard a lot of people bet on the Alabama-Auburn game. I would never do that, because I'm going to tell you what, Auburn could be losing every single game of the season and win the Alabama game. I don't know what momentum happens, but I would never bet. Of course, I don't bet anyway, but I would not bet on that game.
Yeah, it's had the football is oblong and it takes bounces, and you just never know what's going to happen. And the kicking game and the passes they're in the air, they're tipped and they're flying, and it's going the other direction when you think the other team is going to score a touchdown. Next thing you know, the opposing team is scoring a touchdown defensively, and so all kind of strange things happen in that Alabama and Auburn rivalry through the years.
Both my granddads were huge Alabama fans, and even they wouldn't call it. And they would say, well, you never know when they expect them to zig and they might zag. So, both of them said that. So let's talk about the Auburn game this weekend.
Yeah, they have balance in their offense the last 2 or 3 games down, and that's been successful for them, as it would for any team. Peyton Thorne is really taking command of the quarterback position. That's so important, as we always say, in this quarterback-centric era of football. Hunter, the running back for Auburn, he's on a roll now, playing very well, getting 100 yards almost every game. And then defensively, Auburn just shut him down. I mean, they sacked the quarterback, KJ Jefferson of Arkansas. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. It's hard to get him on the ground, but they had positive numbers in that area. They shut down Rocket Sanders. He got hurt, I think, in the second half. I wasn't able to watch the game because I was on the road myself, but they shut down Arkansas's running game and just stifled them, holding them to the 10 points at home in Fayetteville. So that was a huge win in the number of points they've scored, 48. Auburn, who struggled all year offensively. Yeah, so everything seemed to come together for that game to give them that huge victory, in the 6th victory, as we said, to make them bowl eligible.
Let's speed forward just a little bit, just for a couple of minutes, and this will be pertaining to the Alabama-Auburn game. So if Auburn plays like they did this past weekend, what do you just predict a score? Even if you think Auburn's going to lose, what do you think the score would be?
I'm thinking, Alabama's on Alabama's on a roll offensively. They had 49 points in the victory on the road in Lexington, so they're scoring a lot of points down. I'm thinking that I would say Alabama scores 35. I think Auburn, if they play pretty well at home, I'm saying 21, let's say.
By the way, let's give credit to Wayne. Wayne actually texted that message into us.
Oh, did he? Watching Okay. Yeah. I mean, best scenario by both teams, let's say, Alabama on the road with Auburn's defense playing fairly well. Let's say Alabama scores just 35. They don't reach the 40-point mark. And let's say Auburn's offense, who has struggled most of the year, but they're playing very well now. Let's say they scored 21 against Alabama. That tough defense of Alabama's,
But then again, it's a toss. You just never know. Let's talk about Alabama this past weekend.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe, 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 passing, never been done at Alabama. So that was quite an individual performance by him. And John, let's just think back for a moment after they lost to Texas by double digits at home, 34-24. He was actually benched the next week against South Florida, and they struggled with a victory in that game. And here he is now. He's playing lights out, playing sensational, scoring touchdowns, running and throwing the ball, and he's just playing very, very well. And who would have projected after Alabama had benched him? Let's remember now, it's not me saying he was having trouble. It's not you saying he was having trouble. The coaching staff, they benched him for a whole game. He didn't play. And then now look at him. He's probably going to make, I would say he'd probably be, I'm trying to think of all the quarterbacks playing. He's probably going to make second team all SEC. I'm trying to think of every single quarterback probably third all conference, because we have to look at Carson Beck and Jaden Daniels of Georgia and LSU respectively. So probably Jalen, I would say, is the third best quarterback with regards to performance and production this year in the conference. Yeah. I think he's better than Jackson Dart too. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Had he been playing like that all season, he could be contending much more with Georgia.
Right. They're going to be in the championship game. Alabama will be in the championship game against Georgia in Atlanta, December the 2nd, that first Saturday in December. But, there's, I would say, the 4 top quarterbacks. You got Jackson Dart of Ole Miss. He's playing well. They have the 2 losses, but they were slaughtered by Georgia this weekend, just scoring 17 points. The thing about Ole Miss, Donna, they have the 8 wins, but the 2 games against the best teams, they fell flat. They fell flat. Offensively, 10 points against Alabama, 17 against Georgia. This is a team averaging 38 points a game. So that's nowhere near the production on the offensive side for an Ole Miss offense. It's always viewed as being prolific. I think that's not good for Lane Kiffin and company. Here you are playing the top teams, and you're an offensive coach. That's what you're noted for, is putting a lot of points on the board. You didn't reach 20. So I think that's a serious flaw moving forward with Ole Miss if they're trying to contend for any championship, because we know defensively they always struggle. They don't have the depth usually. And offensively, they're supposed to put on 30, 35 points to give themselves a chance in these big games, and they just have been woeful in these last 2 games against Alabama and Georgia, against the top teams, 10 points and 17. But they have a nice record, 8-2. They're going to end up with a nice record. They'll probably beat Mississippi State, and then this week I think it's Louisiana Monroe, I believe. I think it is Ole Miss plays. It's University of Louisiana Monroe. So they'll win that game. That'll be 9. Should be Mississippi State, who just fired their coach down, by the way, today. And Texas A&M, we know they fired their coach, Jimbo Fisher. So that's 2 coaches. We might have Arkansas. They might fire the coach. So that's 3. In the SEC, I'm trying to think of any other coach that might be fired. I don't. No one comes to mind, but I think Arkansas is looking to make a move, and we've already seen 2 so far this year. Yeah, over the weekend. And Donna, what's funny is about it, they played each other. They played each other, Donna. Imagine that. Texas A&M and Mississippi State played each other, and A&M beat them, was it 51-10, and they fired the coach, and Mississippi State fired their coach.
That's interesting. That really is. Yeah. And most of the questions are pertaining to when you fire coaches, they're still paid. But it's because of the contracts, and they're outrageous amount of money.
Yeah, Donna, I think, and I believe this is true, when Nick Saban came on board for $32 million, 8 years at $4 million a year, he took a little bit of a pay cut coming from Miami. I think he was making around $5 million. If I recall, he did not have a buyout originally in his contract. Okay, think about that. Nick Saban did not have a buyout, but now that's become the standard. And I'm saying these athletic directors and presidents, the buyout for Jimbo Fisher is $76 million, Donna. We thought Auburn was something at 20 or so million with Gus Malzahn and Brian Harsin around 15, I think it was. How about 20 to set? We moved from 20 million buyout, which we thought was outrageous, to 76 million buyout. So they're going to pay the chunk of it, I believe, by January, maybe 19 or 20 million, and then 7 million or so a year until 2031.
Somebody needs to. There needs to be something done about that. I mean,
well,
that
you're
makes
right.
No sense to me whatsoever. Why?
Zero cents. Yeah, these athletic directors and presidents have been skating through this process for so long. It's been allowed. If I'm the board of trustees, I'd say, look, we're going to hire a coach. We're going to pay him millions of dollars. If he wants to walk away, we still have our millions to give the next coach. So let's have some faith and confidence in our university, our college, our football program, our athletic program, that somebody's going to want to line up to coach this team. Why are we paying some? Are these coaches saviors? I mean, Jimbo Fisher, he did not get it done. Nowhere near the amount of wins needed. And you're paying. You're paying. Yeah, you're paying it like this is the greatest coach of all time, and they're not. These individuals, you think they're good, they have value, but I'm not selling my soul to have you come here. If you have some other place that's going to pay you 7, 8, 9 million, go ahead. There's a line. There's more than one person looking at this position that will take these millions from the SEC conference that they have that they can pay these football coaches. I do not understand it. I think they've been hoodwinked by these agents. I mean,
I do too.
It's like stealing without a gun. Yes, it's stealing with.
It's the agent. Is the agent still making money? I would think on this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the agent makes money every time, sure. But how does the agent convince a school that this man is the savior for your program? If you lose him, the walls start to crumble. Mm-hmm. If he walks away, that's what essentially you're saying to somebody. We have the savior. Your school will fall apart if this coach walks away. There'll be nobody lining up to take these millions of dollars. That's what they're selling them. Essentially, you're saying that we're not worthy of any other person beside this person.
If I were the one person in the boardroom, I would be raising my hand, and I would be asking everybody else. I would be saying, okay, so we're in the board meeting right now. This establishment, this college has been going on how many decades? We've made it thus far. I would be the one to say that.
I don't understand it. I would really have to sit down with several board members to explain the contract. I know that when Jimbo Fisher was at Texas A&M and LSU was looking for a coach, LSU pursued the Notre Dame coach. He signed for about $100 million. Think about that, $100 million. Mm-hmm. So they're thinking, oh, Jimbo Fisher might go to LSU. Let him go. Donna, think about this. If you know nothing about a coach, if there's a coach out there, $100 million that LSU is pursuing, we'll take that coach for our team, and you could have Jimbo.
Go.
Right? If you think you have somebody else out there that's worth $100 million, we only have somebody worth 70. So we'll take that coach. You could take Jimbo. We'll take the other person you were pursuing. How's that? Is that a fair swap?
We had about 15 questions. We're going to have to go into a commercial break. We had about 15 questions that were pertaining to where does this money come from? Let's talk about that when we come back. Okay, we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters, and we talk about all kinds of great things. And you can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's up in North Alabama. Then you can find us worldwide on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Rob Patz, who owns Abundant Television, said, I know you've got over 80,000 viewers on Roku. He said, I really don't know how many you've got on Apple and Amazon Fire. So anyway, we're just glad you listened to us. But most of the questions this week, not just from Alabama, but all over, and they wanted to know your thoughts on buyouts. You know, when a coach is fired and you're still paying him. But most of the questions were, where does this money come from?
Right. This comes from the alumni, the boosters of a university or a college, and they have deep pockets. At Texas A&M, of course, there's quite a bit of oil money, and they're noted for that type of wealth and resource. But Donna, think about this: Texas A&M has not had a national championship since 1939. Let me say that again: 1939, and they've paid a lot of coaches exorbitant amount of fees above and beyond what other colleges and universities are paying their head coach. They won a championship in the Big 12, I think it was 1998. I think they run double-digit games maybe a couple times in the last 15, 20 years, and they're paying a high price above and beyond for their head coach. So, number one, their selection is not correct of the head coach, right? Because you're paying an exorbitant amount of money. You're not winning any championships. You're barely winning 10 games, let's say, in a season. So you made a lot of bad decisions. You have a lot of money. A lot of money does not mean you're going to produce a champion. Those two are exclusive items. Mm-hmm. The question is, who will you sign the contract to and pay all this money? That's the question they have to ask themselves. We're not something in our evaluation process is not right. We've tried this a number of times now, paying coaches a pile of money, and we have no championship to show. We can't even get to the SEC championship game out of the division. Never mind talking about it, SEC championship. We can't even get out of the division. So there's a flaw in that process. Now, that means you have to look in the mirror, Donna. And people who have a lot of money, they're not used to telling themselves no or there's something wrong with what you're doing because they say, hey, I have a lot of money. I'm smart. Well, you haven't been smart hiring a football coach. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. The record speaks for itself. I mean, you can't shuck the record.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to answer your question, it comes from all these alumni who love sports, and they like to say that they had a hand in hiring a coach, and they have money to throw away. They have money that literally they're never going to use in their lifetime.
I would love to see just one college, just one, say, you know what, we're done with all of that. You got extra
Absolutely.
money? Let's give it to kids to go to college on. Let's show a little strength right there. Yeah, that would be a lot better.
I would say let's have some faith in our college and university that if someone walks away, we're going to attract someone of equal or better value to our college and university to be part of our athletic program. I just think it's a failure in their philosophy, and it's wrong to think we're bringing in the savior and our university is going to fall apart if they walk away from our football program. I think that's ludicrous, and it's shown to be the case. They fired them. Yeah.
I think you're also hurting what you're teaching students. You're teaching students, oh, you know what, you can lose and still get a boatload of money. I mean, you can lose in life. I mean, that's not a good thing to teach the kids.
No, well, we've seen that outside the realm of college athletics, that corporations that are running to the ground and the CEO, they walk away with a golden parachute and they're elevated to a higher position to be on the board and receive more millions, even though they've run the company into the ground. And that's the way America has evolved over time.
I think so too. Let's talk about your choice of the top 5 in the Southeastern Conference, and then let's go back and talk about a few of the others nationwide.
Yeah, right. We have I think 2 clear-cut choices right now, Donna, the way it's played out after 9 or 10 games. Georgia in the SEC Eastern Division and Alabama in the Western Division. Those are the top 2 teams. We meet in Atlanta December 2nd. And after that, the third best team, I like that Missouri team. They lost to LSU at home, 49-39, when they were ahead by double digits. So that was a bad game for them. And then they lost to Georgia. It was a tighter ball game, 30-21. They gave them a great effort and had a chance to win the game, made a few mistakes. I'd say Missouri, probably the third best team. After that, I guess I'd have to say Ole Miss, because they have the 2 losses to Alabama and Georgia. They were both double-digit losses, but that's the next best team. So that's 4 teams. The 5th best team, Donna, I am struggling to find the 5th best team in the conference because, we thought Tennessee, this was going to be a big year for them. They have taken not 1 step back, not 2 steps back. They've taken 3 steps back this year. I mean, it's unbelievable. They had the bad loss this weekend in Columbia, Missouri, 36-7. They just did not show up for that game. That was a 1-point game, Donna. That was the line, 1-point favorite. I think it was Missouri by a point or Tennessee. It didn't matter, but that was a close game, right? And you end up losing by 29 points. And you've now lost to a rival Florida. You lost to a rival Alabama. You lost to Missouri, who's in your division, the SEC Eastern Division. Who, Donna, think about this. They scored over 60-plus points 2 years in a row against Missouri. 2 years in a row. Now you can't score more than 7. Think about that turnaround. And so Josh Heupel, he's got to reevaluate some things with his team. So, like I said, I guess Tennessee is the 5th best team, and that's not a very good fifth team. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to put LSU in there. LSU. Yeah, I'm going to put LSU as the 5th. I'm sorry, I overlooked them. LSU, even though they beat Missouri, they have the loss to Ole Miss. They have the loss to Florida State. They have the loss to Alabama. I'm still going to put Missouri in there. Missouri and LSU. You can put them 4 or 5, whatever you need to do for that. But those are the teams: Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, Tennessee, and LSU. Yeah, the Missouri and LSU, you can swap them with however you prefer. LSU beat them at home, so maybe you put LSU ahead of Missouri. Yeah.
I'm glad to see Alabama in that mix because it started out a little sluggish, and so they've come back. So I think that's great news. I wanted to ask you, as far as SEC, who was your player of the week?
I think there's no question the player who put up 600 yards by himself has to be the player of the week. That's Jaden Daniels, the quarterback of LSU, threw for over 300, ran for over 200, ended up 600, just slightly over 600 yards. It's never been done. 300 plus yards, 200 plus yards rushing. They put up 50 plus points against Florida. And LSU, if he hadn't gotten hurt against Alabama, they could have beaten Alabama because they couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop Jaden Daniels a couple weeks ago. But he got hurt. He got knocked out with a concussion by Dallas Turner on a really questionable hit, I believe. But, Jaden Daniels, he's in that Heisman race. He's been unstoppable throughout the year. Even though in his teams, when they lost, he's played well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, let's talk nationwide.
Nationwide, yeah. Yeah, I think, Georgia up there still, Michigan, some people have Michigan. Georgia and Michigan, those are the top two. Oh, you're looking at, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington. They're still all undefeated, those five teams. And then right behind them, you have Oregon and Alabama and Texas and some of those teams right behind them, Donna. However order you want them. I mean, Texas beat Alabama head-to-head. I'd have to put Texas ahead of Alabama. Oregon lost to Washington up in Seattle by 3, tight ball game. So those three, it's going to be interesting how this is going to play out because you need 4 teams. And if you have 4 undefeated teams, you could have Georgia. It could be those teams I mentioned. It could be the winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game. Mm-hmm. Could have Florida State. Could have Washington if they remain undefeated. Those could be the 4 teams. Now it gets a little interesting if Alabama was able to win out and then actually beat Georgia. And you have, Michigan undefeated, let's say, and Florida State and Washington. It'd be interesting to see who that 4th team would be because Texas beat Alabama head-to-head. Mm-hmm. And if Texas won out with just the one loss to Oklahoma in a close one last minute, but they beat Alabama by double digits in Tuscaloosa, how do you turn away the state of Texas? Mm-hmm. If that's the scenario, this is what I'm looking for. It could get interesting. But Donna, there's so much football to be played, and a team like Alabama would have to win the rest of their games, which is not going to be easy. You have to play at Auburn. You have to play against Georgia in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
AP, a little bit over a minute left in this segment. There's another show, and it's called AP and Kelly As We See It. So what happened last week and this week? What's happening? Yeah,
thank you, Donna. Yeah, we love being on IC Radio, 4 p.m. Central every Friday, AP and Kelly As We See It. And so this week, Donna, I'm not sure who we're going to have on, but we always have an interesting guest, to be on the show. And last week we spoke about the Kentucky-Alabama game. With a gentleman from the Louisville Courier Journal up and so it was fun to speak with him, Ryan Black. So that was interesting. But this week I'm not sure, but we always have fun down with our guests, and we talk about every SEC team every Friday, 4 p.m. Central on IC Radio. AP and Kelly As We See It.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Thank you, everybody, for watching Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you again so much for watching, and you are the apple of our eye. We love having you on the show, and thank you, AP, for being on the show with us today. We'll be back soon.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much.